This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with the fabulous one, Dave Oster.
I don't know. We're going to try that on today.
You know what?
Hey, everybody.
I'm trying new things. Like, you got to have a nickname.
We'll get
Dave.
something to stick people.
The fabulous one, the voice changer, Dave Oster. the tone changer, Dave
Please
Oster. No, we don't need to do that. I'm just trying to...
I do that all on my own.
The fabulous one is what I'm trying to go with today. But welcome into the Primetime Podcast. It's a two-man boat today, or two-man ship today.
Are you getting enough Ricky and me action here?
You got us with the NBA predictions. People were not happy that Dave said the Knicks were going to get nothing.
I said some mean things about the Knicks.
People were mad at me because I called the Raptors Kawhi and the budget team.
But at the end of the day, we're two guys in a room talking basketball.
And today we are talking strictly, basketball, and then something that kind of...
We got a little extra.
Goes into both football and basketball. We're talking about, obviously, LaMelo Ball, because he was out there, said his goal is to obviously be the number one pick. We're going to talk about that. Then we have our way too early big board, Dave, because it would not be the next draft season unless we gave you our way too early big board. So we're going to do our top 10 for that. And then we're going to kind of close the podcast with a chill conversation about Big 12 commissioner came out and said that transfers should sit a year. So you and I are going to discuss, should transfers sit a year or should they be allowed to play immediately after transferring? Before we get on into everything, make sure to hit that link down below and check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast. Was that good enough, Dave? I didn't want to go crush that link. Crush that link down below, bros. As patreon.com. We love all of our patrons. $1 gets you the MVP podcast a month early. It also gets you access to our Discord. You would have saw the way too early beforehand, and would have thought that Dave and I were tied for 11. Soapy, we still love you, man. Shout out to Soapy. But Dave, let's move on into this first topic, and it is LaMelo Ball. So he was on the jump a while ago to announce that he's basically going to take his talents to the NBL in Australia and New Zealand. As Jake told me, also one of our patrons, he's like, well, he didn't really have a choice. After he declined going to college, he got money from a sneaker deal, which is a no-no
for the NCAA
college. So basically, fine, I'll go play internationally, which he can do.
He could have chosen a couple of leagues. The NBL seems to be right now one of the best options for him.
Could have went to China. Could have went to...
China would be interesting.
Could have went to Lithuania
His
again.
brother's reputation there might be a little sketch. To go back. So I was going between, is he going to go play in a EuroLeague or is he going to the NBL? The NBL seems like the best choice for him. Yeah. And we've seen guys as recently as Terrence Ferguson come through the NBL successfully. So I'm super intrigued by he and RJ Hampton, who we also talked about recently, both heading over there.
The thing I will say, and this is before we talk about could he be the number one pick, because obviously he said that's his goal.
Yeah.
The thing I like about him choosing the NBL is because now RJ and LaMelo, it basically, in my mind, I don't want to say gives them more cred, but it's one of those things where now when we're talking about draft, it's not like one guy just sitting over there in the NBL. It's, hey, there's two of them over there, and they have gone head to head. Like, we can see what they're doing. So it's like, by LaMelo going over there and RJ already being over there, they're kind of helping each other out by playing in the same league. That, in my mind, that is. I don't know if you think the same thing, if it even matters that they're both in the same league.
I think it's helpful because it kind of gives us a gauge. This past year, Brian Bowen was over there, right? Yeah. And he was an okay kind of role player over there, which is kind of below expectations for what we were hoping he would be after what we saw out of him in high school. And if he had been allowed to go to college, there's some issues around that. I think he would have had a better draft. I think his draft experience would have been better. So by having two guys go over who are both great young players, LaMelo's already got the international experience because can't forget Lithuania.
Yep, can't forget that.
He did Lithuania, then Spire, then the Drew League.
Yeah,
I think somewhere in there was his dad's league, the Big Baller League. So like he's played against a super wide variety of talent. So I think it's awesome.
And he had a fucking growth spurt, which helped.
He big.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. You now have a benchmark because it's what's the expectation? Is he going to lead a team over there? Is he going to come off the bench, play a smaller role? What can he do? Because all we've seen out of him is this man who has no fear taking shots from anywhere on that court. He will pull up. He will take the shot from 30 feet, 40 feet. It doesn't matter to him. He has the same confidence regardless of if it goes in or not. And it's going to be interesting to see how well he can develop around grown-ass men.
And that's one of the things of it kind of leads into, could he be the number one pick? And not only that, he's going to be around grown-ass men compared to
you like that?
College kids. There's just something else that I know this kind of is like a precursor into our big board, but when I was watching the different films for our big board, and there's a ton of guards. You've got Nico from Arizona. You've got Theo from France. You've got Cole Anthony. Basically, I know he's a 2-guard, but he's got point guards.
There's a shit ton of guards.
I'm talking about Anthony. I think it's Anthony Edwards, the Georgia recruit. He's basically a shooting guard, but he's got point guard tendencies from high school because obviously you're the best player.
Yeah,
you
Anthony Edwards, Cole Anthony, R.J. Hampton.
Yeah,
Nico Mannon. Let's see, Therese Maxey's a combo guard.
You got Ayo, who's already in college. And the thing that separated LaMelo in my mind from all the rest is one thing, because all the guys, they can dunk. There were some that could shoot. But with LaMelo, he can shoot. He's got the dribble ability. I don't know if what you see in the Drew League of like him going between the legs is going to psych anyone out in the NBA. But to me, he's a guy who can shoot. He can drive. But more importantly, when he's driving, he's got some slick passes, it looked like. Like, he's got vision to find teammates potentially. And that's a guy I want. Someone who's kind of like a triple threat, who can offensively shoot, drive, and kick.
All in a 6'8" point guard body.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I want.
That growth spurt helped him out a ton because he's just a unique package. I think there's a lot to love about his game, but at the same time, there are some serious questions around him bulking up because he did hit that growth spurt. He's long, he's lanky, so he needs to work on putting on some muscle, being able to play physically to some level. I know he'll never be like yoked out or anything, but it's one of those things where conditioning is going to help you work with the NBL. They've got some great talent over there when it comes to that. So work with the training staffs, build up some muscle, be able to take a hit, be able to set screens, be able to come off screens. And if you get, shoulder off the edges, you have to be able to bounce off that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things is working through contact will be huge for him because he is one of those guys who he loves to drive into the lane. I mean, I know he kills on fast breaks, but like his money is just shooting. And then if guys come out and take a stab at him, he pump fakes, he goes. And I want to be able to finish through contact. So I think this year for me is about show me that you can add some muscle and you can play against these fully developed guys out there who are in their 20s and early 30s. And where do you fit in? Like, are you going to be a nice complementary piece? Are you going to try to take over the team day one? Are they going to embrace you? Are they not? Like, I think a lot of it is a lot of questions are going to be answered around his character as well, in a similar vein, because his father's persona out there, but we know LaMelo is not his father. And same thing with Lonzo. Like, Lonzo's a quiet guy. LiAngelo, I don't know as well. Like,
we don't see him enough.
But no, like Lonzo, we know he's a quiet guy. We know as a teammate, all of his teammates really like him. He seems like a good kind of a locker room kind of guy.
But now Kuzma don't like him because he's no longer his teammate.
That's fine. I'm just saying, like, everything around that, like his dad has one persona, and that's what puts the media off from the family, or turns them on, whichever way.
The dad's the hype man.
But the actual guys seem like great guys, and that's what you want to be a fan of them. So I think that when he goes over there, and I want to see his relationship to his teammates over there. That's a big prove it moment for me.
Which, by the way, I'm glad you brought up LeVar, because I'm going to say that I've been thinking about this, but Dave, I'm going to say this on a podcast. If anyone wants to share this, LeVar, I know ESPN kicked you off. You're welcome to MVP anytime. Anytime you want to voice an opinion, you're welcome here on MVP. We'd love to have you. You, LaMelo, Lonzo, the whole Ball family is welcome here at MVP. But I like what you said about playing with like actual guys. And
Yeah.
are they going, because that's a big thing. Are they going to, how'd you put it? Like kind of accept you day one and
embrace you. Yeah.
And number two, do they even care? Like the whole big baller stuff.
How quickly is that going to die out? Is it going to be another Facebook reality show?
Do they even care?
Yeah.
Do those teammates even care? Is the LeVar Ball train?
Yep.
Just
going to be a circus again?
Is it just an American thing and like it's only big over here, or are the teammates?
They had the Lithuanian Facebook Live thing,
but are the teammates over in the NBL? Actually going to be like, I don't know about this LaMelo kid because of the family.
He seems super easy to like. I'll say that from all the interviews I've seen.
Dude, when he was on the jump, I was like, I want him to be a Bull already.
And he's so bouncy too. For 6'8", like he's wiry. And there's a lot to like on him. So talent wise, like what do you think it would take performance out of him to be a number one overall like he's saying he wants to? Which if he didn't say he wanted to be number one, I would be like, that's not the attitude I want out of a player. Like he's a guy who can get you buckets and he's been doing it for years and I'm super excited about it. But performance wise, are we talking like, what kind of averages is he going to have to put up over there? Is it an average? Is it just a glowing review from his coach and his teammates over there? What's that gold star check mark that you're looking for?
So the first thing I was going to do is let's base it off of what we saw from this past year's class. And the funny thing is, I went to go to Tankathon because I'm like, I'll pull up Kobe White's. And Tankathon has already changed to 2020.
Nice.
It's a new calendar year.
Nice, Tankathon.
And they've got their big board up. Where do they have LaMelo? They've got LaMelo 11th.
Yeah.
They have him listed at 6'6". 6'6", 180. So like you said, that 180.
It's got to go up because he's somewhere between 6'7" and 6'8" now.
And that's the good thing about playing in the NBL. Those even guys on the other team, they're going to be bulked up. They're going to be of size to where it's like, hey, if you're going to drive into the lane, you might get decked. And it's like, okay, I got to bulk up because I got to be able to take that. Kind of like what I'm thinking is Derrick Rose into the lane. You get hit, you got to be able to bounce up.
You got to finish.
And finish with the basketball because that's going to be the big thing if you're driving. But if we look at because I'm thinking LaMelo is like a point guard. If we look at the point guards this year, and I know Darius Garland, throw that aside because he only played 4 games. If you look at Kobe White, who is the second point guard off the board, in college this past year, put up 16 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. And when it comes to LaMelo's game, though, I kind of want 15 points wouldn't be bad, but there's a part of me that's like, this is a professional league, not a college league. So there's a part of me that's like, I kind of want more than 15 points. There's part of me that's like, maybe I want that 17 to 18, maybe 19 points per game. But the big thing I want to see from LaMelo is those assist numbers because I've seen that passing ability. I would love it if he had I'll dumb it down a bit. So I'll say 18 points per game, about 6 to 7, maybe 8 assists per game. And then the rebounds are the big one. Are you happy with Kobe White had 3.5 because of LaMelo's size? Do you want to see maybe 5 boards a game?
I think that's
from LaMelo.
I absolutely think that he is. I want to see not as stupid, but he's a triple threat. He can score, he can rebound, he can assist. So I'm expecting not jaw numbers, but you better show me the fact that you can get. I'm thinking 6+ boards and 5+ assists. Okay. I want to see if you could in the NBL. So
you're a little bit higher on the boards, lower on the assists.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious. Well, the pace of play is a little different, and I don't know opportunity wise what he's going to be. So it's very hard to say. I think based
he's
on
going to have a gel period coming into that team.
Yeah, I would have to assume so. I mean, if he puts up 14, 6, and 5. That's not a bad line for the NBL. No. I would be pretty interested at that point. But I mean, it's on top of that, it's efficiency. Did his shot get any better? Because his shot goes in, but the release point's not great. The form's not great. I'm not a shot doctor, but those two things are clear to everybody who sees him.
Do you think that? And I almost say this hesitantly because you look at a guy like Buddy Hield, and I know his took years in college to
Wooden
fix.
Award winner. Put some respect on it.
Yeah, put that respect on it. Yeah, he was a 4-year college player.
Yeah.
And he fixed that shot basically shooting with the wrong hand.
Yep.
In college, do you think there's any benefit to, hey, being in the NBL compared to college where it might benefit his shot? Like does it matter where he is, college or professional overseas, that one's going to help him fix his shot better than the other?
It depends if his entire entourage, crew, training group is going with him, or if he's going to take different perspectives, different opinions from guys who've been doing it for decades. And that's the thing for me is you have to appreciate the level of coaching over there and not throw it away. I know Markelle Fultz is the golden child for man, did he take some bad advice on his shot during the offseason. He worked out heavily, bulked up, and then the shoulder injury.
He was overthinking it after the injury.
No, it was an injury. Can we say it's an injury?
But after you get an injury, you kind of have to. Things aren't sometimes when you have an injury, you have to change what you did because you're not able to do it because of that injury.
But he had the injury for the last 2 years is the problem. It's not like he overthought it. He was injured the entire time, according to doctors.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get in the mental aspect of that at all. I think it's just the fact he yoked up because that was one of the things against Fultz coming out was he was so thin.
Too small.
He was just thin. I mean, that's the thing. You get worried about those young guards. And I think that, it fucked with his shoulder, which fucked with his shot. And, I hope at some point this year we'll get to see him in the 2019 season really kind of become himself again. But, he's a guy who listened to a shooting coach, a friend basically of his own.
Yeah.
I think it was a family member or friend. At this point, I've already pushed it out. But, to change his shot up a little bit to be a better, more consistent shot, and that really didn't help him at all. We saw him work out with the shot doctor himself, Drew Hanlon, and even that, I mean, the offseason tweets were fucking amazing.
The guy who helped Mo Bamba.
He helped everyone who was a great shooter in the NBA, and even he was, at the end, he's like, man, this kid's going to be great, and then, all of a sudden, there was, stuff started coming out, I was like, and he's disassociated himself with him. He's like, I'm not working with him anymore. Done. Yeah. And it was like, oh, it's not fixed. It's so not fixed. So I think it's just, you got to have the right people around you. And if he's just going to keep doing him, that's fine. It works for him.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to fix the world, but I think you do need to continue to tweak it. You can't fix overnight, but you can make it better. That's my answer.
And let's get to the crux of the question, though, because I know we talked about LaMelo. In your mind, could he be number one? Because there is right now a slew of players. Is it going to be a guy like James Wiseman? Because the thing I was looking up, and I thought about saving this for the big board, but I'll say it now because it fits into this conversation.
I mean, we'll get to the big board next anyway.
I was looking at 247 Sports and their basketball rankings, and I went back to 2010, and you were like, I wonder how far it goes.
Yeah.
And eerily, it went farther back, their coincidence of if you looked at their rankings, there were some years like the Ben Simmons year, the Anthony Davis year.
When those once in a generation prospects are there, and they're there since, they were the 12.
Andrew Wiggins year.
Exactly. Those are the guys who are on the map already.
This player was number one coming out of high school.
Soon to be Bronny.
He then became the number one pick in the draft.
Yep.
And there were other ones like John Wall and Kyrie were 2 years where it was the number 2 recruit was the number one. But the thing I noticed the most is whoever 247 had it either 4 or 5 and 1 year 6, the Anthony Bennett year. Anthony Bennett was 6.
Even Anthony Bennett didn't know he'd be number 1 overall.
Exactly. But most of the time it's 5 or 6. Like Zion, 5th. RJ Barrett was 1. Cam Reddish was 2 coming out.
Yep.
But the thing is, if you look at them, the 5th or 4th are usually the number 1 pick. That means James Wiseman, most likely not going to be the number 1 pick. According to them, it would either be R.J. Hampton or Cole Anthony.
Yeah.
Would be the number 1 pick. But it's like, you got Cole Anthony, you got R.J., you got LaMelo, you've got Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman. I know it's way too early to even look at this for an exact who will.
Yep.
But when you look at these guys, what kind of goes through your mindset with the who could be the number 1 pick when we get to June 2020?
I think it's
a year from right now, Dave.
I know. I'm super excited about that. We get a full year with this group of prospects. I wouldn't put my money on LaMelo being number 1. It's so hard for a player who is not playing under the spotlight of the NCAA to get that number 1 overall pick. I mean, we saw the most gifted prospect. I'm sorry, not most gifted, most polished prospect in Luka Doncic last year go 3. This was a player who had been just dominating European basketball for years.
5. DeAndre Ayton was 5, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Just throwing that out there.
That has what to do with Luka Doncic?
No, he was the 5th in the ranking, so
Great.
Of course he was number 1.
Great, thanks. You're about a minute and a half behind on that conversation.
Yeah.
But you have the most polished player, someone who's accomplished in European basketball for years, and he didn't even go number 1 overall.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge hump to overcome, not being under the NCAA spotlight. There's just something special about college basketball in America. On top of that, you hit March Madness. The lights are on. You get so much more hype. You get so much more attention. And the accessibility, being able to send your scout, like NBA scouts, that's their job, is they go watch college kids play. But at the same time, having to go to Australia or New Zealand to watch someone play, you're going to have less opportunities. You're not going to have the same level of access to this guy, to be around him, to be around his teammates, to be around his coach, to constantly be asking questions. It's just harder to accurately gauge their ability level and, their potential. So with LaMelo, it's a little different because we've had that open access for a couple of years now. But I still believe that it's just too much. It's too far removed from the spotlight. I don't think he'll go 1. I think he could go top 5, but I don't think he can go 1.
And that's the thing.
It would take, if he took over the NBL and is dropping 28-7, then shit, son.
I think the thing the one thing that could help him is I throw back the RJ thing, him being over there.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing that could help both of them is if both of them have a rivalry in the NBL, where basically it's kind of mano-a-mano. I'm not saying they have to hate each other, but when these two play and when they're kind of playing, it's kind of give us a reason to stat watch. Give us a reason to see when they go head to head. Make it a marquee matchup in the NBL. If they do that, LaMelo will help RJ, RJ will help LaMelo, and they could kind of raise each other's stocks together. But you are right. Once March Madness hits, there are some cases, Ben Simmons, he didn't need March Madness to be number 1. He was the number 1 prospect in that draft. But there are times we see guys rise up because of March Madness. Look at Jarrett Culver. Texas Tech makes that run. If they don't make that run, does he rise to the rumors we had before the draft where it was teams
4.
are going to trade up to 3 or trade up to 4 to get him? I know he ended up going 5? No.
He went 6.
Yeah, he went 6 because the Cavs took Garland at 5.
Correct.
But how much is his rise if they don't have that great tournament performance?
Had he actually, not really underperformed in the last 2 games of that tournament, he likely would have gone 4.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I just don't. There's no way to quantify what March Madness can do for a prospect. Dante DiVincenzo.
You even I'll throw out who the Warriors drafted this year in the first round that Sean didn't like, Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
But if you look at him in March, when the lights were on, he had some pretty good shots.
He also was a workout warrior at the combine.
So, you got workout warrior. He's hit shots under pressure in the biggest of stages.
I'm thinking of Jordan Bone. I take that back.
But it's that tournament, all the eyes in the United States kind of turn to that tournament. And also there's kind of this 8-ball also, and RJ kind of falls into this too. The last non-college player to be taken number 1, Andrea Bargnani in 2006. That was the last.
How did that work out?
Well, the next guy after him was LaMarcus Aldridge that
the Bulls drafted
traded to Portland. Thank you. Thank you, Portland. Who did we get in that one? Oh, that's right. Tyrese Thomas. Also, number 6 in that draft is So off topic real quick, Jake, our patron, put on Twitter, he retweeted show a gif of one player that you wish could come back 100% healthy and see what their career would be like. Brandon Roy was one of the guys I thought of.
Yeah.
If his career was totally healthy, what would it look like? But RJ and LaMelo are going to have that 8 ball behind them. For me, I know one thing for sure. I don't think Wiseman is going to go number 1. Not that he's going to be bad. I will put my money.
We'll talk about that more in our big board segment.
Yes. I would just put my money on one of the guards. I would hedge my bets on one of the guards rather than Wiseman going number 1. But LaMelo, I'll go 40% chance he's the number 1 pick.
That's pretty high.
And that's pretty high for most people. But I think that he's something special. And if he plays well, it's not going to matter where he plays. Like, talent is going to shine out over the rest. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section. What do you think of LaMelo Ball going to the NBL? What does he need to show? What do you see from him already? Could he be the number 1 pick in the 2020 NBA draft?